Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Wormuth, General George, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate your service to our country. Secretary Wormuth, the Army will play a pivotal role in the Western Pacific as the department lead for the contested logistics problem set. Congress has been providing bipartisan support and funding for Project Pele, micronuclear reactor. Does the Army have any plans to transition the Pele technology and regulatory approach for either operational or installation energy resiliency solutions?
Well, we certainly are very focused on energy and resilience at our installations and being able to operate in a more resilient manner. We are interested, I think, in the potential of micronuclear reactors, and I'm familiar with the Project Pele project. I think, we are looking at, and I think we'll soon be entering into some discussions, some informational discussions with industry to learn more about what might be possible, because certainly to the extent that we're able to have a reliable source of energy, if we have, if the electric grid in many of our communities goes down for some reason, it certainly would be appealing to have something that's dependable and reliable. So we're interested in exploring that, but I would say we're still in the early stages.
Thank you. General George, can you describe for the committee how the FY25 budget request takes into consideration the Army's lead role in addressing the contested logistics problem for the department and the Joint Forces sustainment needs? I'm thinking particularly with regard to the year 2027. I'd like your professional military opinion. Do you believe that the Army will be able to fulfill its role and meet those requirements?
Senator, I do. Obviously, this is something that we're working on very diligently. We're increasing, we just stood up a watercraft company, for example, over in Japan. Throughout this next TAA, Total Army Analysis, we're looking at 2 additional. We're investing in the LSV, some of the same capability that's getting ready to go over that's out in the Mediterranean right now. I will say that this is a joint mission that we're getting after with that, just like we're doing that mission. We have rehearsed those, so that's, I think, the other thing that we have to do. Are in this next budget 200% increase in our exercising. Obviously, testing, doing all these things through exercises is where we learn. We're going to be also doing it with partners and allies. And then we're also taking a look at overall what we need to do with, for example, on watercraft, what can unmanned systems provide? What can we do with leasing? Prepositioned stocks is a part of this. So I think we're looking at this holistically, and we have stood up here just this last fall a contested logistics cross-functional team that is really focused on that for the whole Army.
How about with regard to the different nations involved in the status of forces agreements and so forth? Are those coming together?
Are you talking, Senator, like where we would maybe station something, or what our forward posture would be?
Yeah, and I'm curious whether with regard to the agreements themselves and so forth, the Army takes a role, but does the State Department participate in those discussions as well?
Obviously, a lot of that is going to be led by the ambassador, by the State Department. It's going to happen across the interagency, and I think a good example of great partnership that we have right now is how we've expanded with the Philippines, or what we've continued to do with those partners. But
those particular agreements and so forth are in line for being able to meet the needs by the year 2027.
Obviously, that's our focus, is moving out quickly in all of those, and I think that's I know it's a department-led and Indo-PACOM, but really it's the whole interagency, Senator.
Very good, thank you. Secretary Wormuth, the Army established the Joint Counter Small Unmanned Aircraft Systems Office back in 2019 to coordinate counter-UAS development across the force. The top 2 items on your unfunded priorities list are the counter-UAS items. Now, Senator King makes a really good point when he talks about the costs involved. Can you share any information about the JCO's role in General Brown's counter-UAS task force?
Sure. First of all, I want to say, since 2020, the Army's invested about $3 billion in counter UAS. So we are very focused on that. We've spent more than any other service. The Joint Capabilities Office is really, their job is to go out for the whole department and work with industry to kind of bring forward what's possible so that we can start investing in sort of the best available technology. And then each service decides what they want to buy. But it is playing a key role. We're also standing up a joint counter UAS university at Fort Sill in Oklahoma, again, to help us learn. And I would let the chief speak to sort of the UASs that are on his unfunded priority list.
Yes, Senator. So what we did, again, I had mentioned up front on the unfunded priorities list, it's stuff that's executable and specific to the counter UAS. It's what we've seen change since October 7th last fall. And, we've had some advancements in some of that. We know that environment and those systems are changing very rapidly. So there was one system on there specifically that we wanted was Roadrunner. There's additional missiles that we need, like Coyote missiles that we know are very, very effective, but we need to increase our magazine depth. So those are the kinds of things that were on there.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Reynolds. Senator Warren, please.